Good afternoon. I want to thank everybody who joins us. Ukraine Media Center Ukraine Forum continues its operation today, and I'm happy to see everybody who joins us both online and in this studio. Today is day 433 of the full-scale invasion of our homeland by Russian aggressor, and now we will be talking about the situation in Odesa region. Joining us online is Sergei Brachuk, head of the Public Council with the Odesa Regional Military Administration. Good afternoon, Mr. Sergei. Good afternoon. Glory to Ukraine. Glory to the heroes, Mr. Sergei. Right away, I would like to talk to you about the security measures that are being taken in Odesa as to the 2nd of May, 9th of May. How is Odesa preparing to those dates? Thank you for this question. I would like to say that this night passed without air raid alerts. Everything is 450. The critical infrastructure keeps operating under the martial law. The situation in Odesa region and the city of Odesa is under full control. What about your question about the 2nd of May? The law and order is being provided by the national police in the center of the city, along with the other defense forces units, and the servicemen of the State Emergency Service of Ukraine are on duty along with the medical personnel. The city is being patrolled by the law enforcement servicemen. The units are reinforced to provide for security and safety of our citizens. We understand what are the challenges being faced by our society, specifically in the south of our country, which are related to the war. As to the Kulikovo Polo, the place of events, the fight for Ukrainian Odesa that was going on the 2nd of May 2014, there are special checkposts installed, and people can get there only using their documents, their IDs. So the territory of Kulikovo Polo was inspected by pyrotechnics before, and also I want to remind you that in case of announcement of the air raid alert, all the citizens will be forced proceed to the nearest shelters, which are located nearby Kulikovo Polo, just like everywhere in our country. Also, in the places of mass concentration of population, the policemen will explain the rights and duties to the civilians, along with the law of Ukraine in effect and consequences of its violation. For example, the Central Department of the Ukraine National Police established their operational headquarters, and they're engaged in guiding the units which are engaged in providing and ensuring security and safety during the 2nd of May. I don't expect any commotions. We hope that this day is about to pass without serious concerns. All the security measures are reinforced, as I mentioned, because 2nd of May 2014 is the anniversary of the fight for Ukrainian Odesa. All of our law enforcement representatives urge to take the reinforced security measures with understanding, and since this day we have the curfew from 12 o'clock to 5 o'clock in the morning. It's in effect just like previously. It's clear that any movement and sale is prohibited during the curfew. The use of the pyrotechnical devices like fireworks is prohibited too. I urge the citizens of Odesa to report the law enforcement about any such cases. As to the law of Ukraine in effect, the use of any symbols of totalitarian symbols is prohibited in Odesa, along with the use of the cold weapons, small arms, explosive devices. All that was explained before this date by the law enforcement representatives, so please don't follow any provocations and please comply with the lawful procedures. Well, Mr. Serhiy, we see that it's getting warmer outside. It's the traditional period for vacations, recreation. So will there be access to the beaches in Odessa? What is the decision made about this? Well, really, we have sun coming out after the prolonged rains in Odessa. Well, according to the joint order of the Odesa Military Administration, it was adopted last year. So this order prohibits any entrance by any people to the beach zones, bays, harbors along the shore of the Black Sea in Odessa region. Once again, it's a joint order of the military administration and military command adopted last year, so this order is still in effect. In view of the fact that equator of the Black Sea is mined, it's a forward edge of the battle area, we urge all the civilians, we remind them that first of all you have to take with understanding the situation. The war is still going on, and I want to emphasize that for the time being the military command continues to monitor the security situation, and only afterwards any relevant decisions will be taken. Also, our military expect the municipality of Odessa to issue proposals as to the organizing the recreation in such locations as they were mentioned above. There will be proposals and there will be relevant decision taken in this regard. The situation is like this today. I urge everybody using this opportunity, don't go out on the beaches, don't swim in the sea because it is dangerous. Take care of yourself and your closest ones. So for the time being, the beaches of Odessa are closed for recreation. Yes, as I said, there is the law, which there is an order which is still in effect. Well, I cannot help but asking about the operation of the grain deal. Was the situation in the ports of Odessa? Well, we know that Russian Federation sabotages the operation of the grain deal and the operation of Turkey and the work of Turkey, United Nations and Ukraine, who take a lot of efforts to resume the operation of the grain deal in full. As of yesterday, there were no single movements. There are several vessels which are about to be loaded in the ports of Odessa, Pivdeny and Chernomorsk for today. The exit of a number of vessels is planned. The situation is being monitored. We track the operation of the Joint Coordination Center. You know, the line in the Strait of Bosphorus is building up right now, and we only dream for the grain deal to continue operating in full, but we will have to take more efforts to make it happen. It's not fully blocked, regardless of the attempts of aggressor state to obstacle the operation of the grain deal. Well, one of the vessels, for example, which was not able to leave the port of Odessa, it was operating under WFP program, which emphasizes the humanitarian nature of the grain initiative. Thank you, sir. We have questions on the floor. Thank you. Could you please tell us, there were a lot of criminal cases initiated as a consequence of those events of the 2nd of May 2014. Are those cases finalized and were the guilty ones punished? Well, I see that the attitude of the denizens of Odessa changed towards Russia, because it's no secret to us that it became more pro-Ukrainian. There were a lot of Russian narratives circulating in Odessa. So to what extent have people changed their attitude to Russia? Thank you for this question. Answering to the first part of your question, the cases are not yet finalized, because some of the persons, they fled after those events, and they are currently in Russian Federation. Everybody knows it, but I'm sure that the punishment, well, the punishment not only by the court but also from the celestial court, so to say, will catch up with them. As to the second part of your question, I can quote one of the denizens of Odessa. I cannot call her exact name, but she said that a lot of denizens of Odessa, they were going to their bed on the 23rd of February, like in Russian, and they woke up in Ukrainian on the 24th. So it demonstrates the attitude of denizens of Odessa to Russians. We know here in the south that the war has not started on the 24th of February 2022, but rather for us, for example, in Odessa, on the 2nd of May 2014. As I mentioned, it was the fight for Ukrainian Odessa which resulted in some tragic consequences, and Russia, as the aggressor state, was instigating that conflict, and they will be brought to liability for that as well. For us, the denizens of Odessa is clearly understood. Moreover, I will give you another example. In the beginning of the March last year, in one of the Russian propaganda channels, there was a statement that in a couple of days there will be several Russian ships with the Marines who are about to disembark on the shores of Odessa, and we've seen those 6 big ships, and Odessa, according to the words of the propagandists, should have raised the white flags. Yes, Odessa raised the flags, but they were blue and yellow and red and black. So that's the answer to your question. Thank you, Mr. Sergey. Thank you for joining our broadcast. I'm reminding you, joining us was Sergey Bratchuk, the head of the Public Council with the Odesa Regional Military Administration. Our next briefing is at 1400. Joining us will be Igor Taburets, the military governor of Cherkasy region. So bear with us, trust in our armed forces, and work together for our victory. Glory to Ukraine.